of punishment. And as one of the speakers said earlier, prisons don't teach much except hate and anger. Hate and anger are not good things to take out into the world with you. An education and a sense of hope will get you much further. So what I'm asking for those of you who are inmates now, when you leave, you've got to take advantage of that right that I was able to vote for. That the minute you are no longer in the custody of the Department of Corrections, you have the right to vote. I also ask of every parent and every friend that you be a voter. And then all of us, whether you are coming or going or staying, really need to speak out to people who are making decisions about your lives. And those are my colleagues in the state legislature and in the Congress. You to them too often are just a number. You are faceless, you are nameless, but you have the opportunity to add a story to why you are here, to add your sense of the need for change to make this a better place for yourself or your colleagues. All of us have friends and family that can talk to legislators. All of you can send a letter to your legislator. You know, when I was in the 5th grade, we all wrote to the president one day. Well, maybe that's something that you guys should do in your sociology class or your writing class. Let's all write to our legislators. They may not take it terribly seriously, but they may be touched, as I've been touched by the stories that you have to tell. So I am hoping, and my message today, when I was invited to speak, the number one thing I was told to do was make it brief. So I'm trying to do that. But my number one message today is that I want all of you to work for change. Because there really is a possibility that we can pay more attention to why does someone come to prison? What can they do while they're here that will take them back into the community, to be a strong member of that community, to be a parent for children that will not come here, that will not repeat the mistakes, to share with people in your neighborhoods that there is an opportunity to make change. And more than anything else, that you will be guided by a sense of hope. And that we are here with you this evening can also take a message of hope, because change can lead to that for all of us. Thank you very much.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to recognize and honor our students for their hard work and dedication to education. The certificate honorees are receiving certificates for completion of the following courses from the following instructors. Now, instructors, when I call your name, please come up to our stage. Psychology, taught by Dr. Barbara Bennett. Political science, taught by Carol Estes. Film history and women's studies, taught by Ruth Gregory. African American history from the year 1526 through 1865, taught by Mr. Gary Heidelberg. And finally, small business operation, taught by Mr. Bill Pollock. Instructors, before I call up the honorees, could you please tell the audience a little bit about your credentials and, briefly, why you have chosen to volunteer your very, very valuable time to teach in this prison? Start with you, Gary.
My name is Gary Heidelberg, and I've been teaching African American history for 5 years, 6 years, quite a while. And part of the reason why I got into teaching African American history was partially from a challenge that I don't know if those of you who remember Carl Mack, who used to be the head of the NAACP, and I remember him at a VPC meeting. He said he volunteered to teach a Black History course. I said, he won't be here long enough. He's going to be on to other things. So I raised my hand and said, I'll help him, knowing he wouldn't be here. And so that's kind of how the Black History course got started. But seriously, I did it because one of the things that is really important is you can't move ahead until you understand how the past is impacting you on the present. And I feel really strongly and seriously about that. And that's one of the reasons why I do this, and we do it seriously, because there's so many things that are connected, you know, through Black history that everyone needs to know, not just Black people, but people of all races in this country, because Black history is American history, and it needs to be understood by everybody. So that, because the mistakes that you see that this country has made from slavery to voting and to all the things that have challenged us go across the board, and they impact other things in other areas of society. So my background, briefly, is I have a degree in geography from the University of Wisconsin, and I have a degree in urban planning from Boston University. And my background in Black history is primarily from geography, looking at migration patterns of Black people after the Civil War. I have want to recognize Kamonte Carter as, yeah? Okay.
Now, Carol Estes, we already know what her credentials are, so we're going to go straight to Barbara Bennett.
I'm very pleased to be here tonight. My credential, I have an education degree from the University of Washington and a PhD in psychology and education from the University of Washington. And I taught some education courses at the University of Washington, and then I went on to start a school in Seattle called First Place School. Is a program for children and families who are homeless or have experienced the risk of homelessness. And then now I work in the Seattle School District as an internal consultant teaching teachers. I teach here because I think psychology is very important, and I really want to share my enthusiasm for it. And I have been more than rewarded by my students. They are the best students I have ever taught. And our discussions are always interesting. I learn, as Dr. Shepard said, I learn far more after each session than I ever thought I would. So I have been very, very honored to be part of the University Behind Bars. Thank you.
Ruth, can you share with us, please?
My name is Ruth Gregory, and I'm an associate faculty member at Shoreline Community College. And though my credentials were questioned often as to whether I'm old enough to teach this course, I do have a master's in fine arts and film and a graduate certificate in women's studies from Ohio University, with whom we receive credits. And I'm currently working on a second master's degree in cultural studies at the University of Washington, Basel. And the reason why I came to University of Behind Bars, which I think I've shared with some of the men, is that while I was a graduate student at Ohio University, there was a man who was actually in my cohort who had served 2 years in prison and couldn't talk more about how education had transformed his life once he had been released. And so after talking with him, and we're still friends, once I heard about the Prisoners Education Network, I kind of felt like it was a calling to be involved, since my graduate degree also comes from the university through which we currently receive credits. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about my certificates. I made my own. Even though Carol checked in several times to make sure I was making one. And at the bottom, it says it's a certificate of appreciation instead of completion, because I too believe, like Gilda and Barbara, that I've learned far more being here than I have probably taught.